Yeah, thanks, Prith. Very, very enlightening and very consistent, I think. We're arriving at a very consistent approach to things. I have a question. You talked about the experience of going into a hotel, TripAdvisor, and so on, and now maybe trying to replace that by tweets. Recently, it was highlighted in the New York Times that there's a massive amount of fraud in the undermining of institutions on, in fact, a good percentage of the TripAdvisor postings are now believed to be fraudulent. And I'd just like to get your perspective and what kind of research you're doing. And of course, this will get even more notable with, we used to talk about click fraud, now we'll be talking about tweet bots and tweet fraud. What kinds of things do you think can be done to make sure that as we try to use this masses of data that's out there, that it's not so poor quality and so fraudulent that our joint approach to this is undermined?
I think that's a great question. The reason I talked about a seamless, secure, context-aware experience is the following. This is a beautiful kind of a setup to the way I will answer the question. So suppose I were to do a fraud. I go onto TripAdvisor. I work for Hyatt Hotels. I keep on going onto TripAdvisor and shoot down Hilton.com, right? On the other hand, if you saw Prith Banerjee today has checked into the Fairmont in San Jose. He is a registered guest in the hotel, right? He flew in from wherever on the airline, so you can actually do the context-aware. If you want to monitor Prith's movement, you could actually do it in a context-aware manner. And if Prith flew in from New York, stayed in San Jose, in the Fairmont Hotel, and then did a tweet on the Fairmont Hotel is a beautiful hotel, we love it, that is a validated tweet. But you need to tie in the context of the airline reservation, the hotel reservation, and the tweet. If you do it otherwise, right, how else could you do the fraud? Well, somebody from Hyatt would have to actually check into the Hilton and so on and so forth, which is a very convoluted way, a very expensive way of putting in a ratings things down. So that is a way. The point is to do it in a context-aware manner. Can you bring in the consumer context and the professional context together in making this decision in a secure manner?
Hi. I noticed that on the verticals and on the HP areas, you're putting a lot of emphasis on the sustainability. So
on the what?
On the sustainability services. And can you expand a bit on what HP is thinking about that?
This was a planted question. So we talked about the world of sort of the connected world where you connect everything, right? And so at HP Labs, we just talked about a service that we launched on Monday called the Home Energy Demonstrator. So in our homes, we use a lot of devices, right? We have, and my son uses an Xbox connected to television, and sometimes he turns off the television, but not the Xbox. And the Xbox is consuming a lot of power. So if you could monitor the energy consumption of all the appliances in a home, for all the homes in the US or the world, right? You could actually provide a lot of guidances about what are your energy consumption patterns and suggest sort of guidances as to change these things, right? So when you drive a Toyota hybrid, the Prius, one of the things that it shows is on a dashboard what your energy consumption pattern is, and that just being aware of it changes behavior. So the first step in our Phoenix demonstrator was done actually by a researcher who's sitting just behind you, is to essentially monitor all the energy sort of consumptions in all the appliances. So the way you do that is before you plug in your appliance to the receptacle, you go through another receptacle, right? And that has a wireless sensor, and it monitors all the energy consumption that is going on through that particular receptacle. So then you display it on your device in this particular experiment on a WebOS sort of a touchpad kind of a device. And you can see your energy consumption in the living room, the family room, and so on and so forth on all the homes, and that can change behavior. That can become a lot more sustainable homes. Now you can apply to companies and bridges and all kinds of things. So that is an example. The other example, we have a lot of work going on. I did not want to repeat the work that Robert did an outstanding job in talking about cities. We have some work going on in sort of sustainable cities, a vision of City 2.0, which talks about how do you do a complete infrastructure change, right? Upgrade of the water infrastructure, the power supply infrastructure and so on. By smart supply-demand side point of view, you can actually come up with a much more sustainable city. So if you could redesign the city of San Jose, redesign the city of San Francisco, how would you do it with the trillions of sensors, collecting data and making it a lot more sustainable? Very well aligned with what Robert talked about in his city's vision.
I understand that you work on the research side of the house, but I do have a strategic question for you. How does HP see, given the 5 grand visions, that solutions that you had presented earlier, how does HP see the collaboration between you and other grand players in the field like IBM and Google, etc., in achieving that master plan for the cloud and transportation and communications and the like?
At HP Labs and at HP, we believe in the practice of open innovation, and I know that so does IBM, so does Google, and so on. So we are in this together. The market is so big, the problem so complex, that you cannot do it alone. So I will tell you our sort of interpretation of open innovation at HP Labs. At HP Labs, we have a bunch of smart researchers, right? But not all the smart researchers work for HP Labs. We know this. So as we try to solve these 8 hard problems, right, we collaborate with professors in various universities. So last year, for example, we participated, and this is something, an operation being run under Rich Friedrich's guidance. We work with about 60 universities worldwide together on the same research problems, these sort of 20-ish big bets along these 8 themes. In addition, we work with companies, larger companies. So for example, we have a cloud computing testbed work called the Open Citus, which is a collaboration with Intel, Yahoo, and HP, and a whole bunch of universities. In addition, we work with startup companies, smaller companies, but those startup companies we actually don't list because the startup companies don't want to be listed on our webpage. In summary, we work with universities, large companies, and startup companies together on the problems facing the world. The problems are so complex, if we did it by ourselves in a closed way, we would not be successful.
So I fully understand the research aspect of it, but how is the business model?
So the business model is also collaborative, right? So when you look at the way HP comes up with solutions to our customers in the enterprise area, right? We partner with SAP, right? We don't have our own little sort of enterprise solutions in the database world, in ERP world, and so on. We partner with Oracle. We partner with essentially a bunch of things, right? We want to do it for the customers. If the customers say, right, they will need, so we have a large enterprise services business, right, where we, like IBM services business, we help customers on entire solutions in the healthcare world, right? Of course, we would hope that they purchase HP servers and HP's networking. But if the customer chooses for that particular thing, if the Cisco is the right solution, we will do it for them. So we'll do an HP server, Cisco network, SAP implementation or whatever, a Windows-based stuff from Microsoft. We do provide strategically the right products and solutions, what is appropriate for the customer. And that feeds into our research umbrella as well.
Thanks so much.